Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All living beings are divine and equal before Krishna. Krishna, or divinity, exists equally in all beings and everywhere. What does that mean? A dualistic idea of God, as it is in the case of some leading organized religions, is the one due to which people pray and ask for what they want rather than realize that they would need to work for what they want. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name tveshyosti na priyah ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9:29. I am the same to all living beings. There is no one I am partial to. However, those who worship me with love and devotion are in me, and I too am in them. Those who understand that they, or rather their self, them, is the all-pervading consciousness, God, Brahman or Krishna, do not feel separate from the Supreme Divine Consciousness. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 10:20. Krishna said, O Arjuna, I am the Self situated within all living entities. I am the origin, the middle, and also the end of all beings. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 6:31. The one who is in union with me and worships me residing in all beings becomes a yogi, and whatever circumstances the person may be in resides in me. Srimad Bhagavad Gita 3:40. Krishna said, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are called the seats of lust. They shroud the power of discrimination and knowledge and delude the embodied self. It is the mind that has not been mastered that deludes a person into not being able to perceive their own divinity. However, it is divinity, or the idea of a separate God, that happens to be one of the prime factors on which organized religions stand. Almost all organized religions are faith-based, while on the other hand, the ancient Vedic Sanatana Dharma teaches ways to attain the realization of one's own divinity through individual experience. Followers of faith-based religions or cults are commanded to believe in a supernatural being, a human being, a book or books, and those who disobey are usually punished. The Vedic Sanatana Dharma, which certainly is no religion or ism, has no organized system with rules, commandments, or punishments for disbelievers and non-conformists. Scriptures of the Vedic Dharma suggest people ways that have been tested in the past by great people who attained the realization of the self, which is pure divinity. Shloka 1401. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuyah Pravakshyami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yajñatva Munayah Sarve Param Siddhimito Gataha. Sri Bhagavan Krishna said, again, I shall explain to you that supreme knowledge which is the most superior of all knowledge. It is the knowledge from which the great sages acquired and attained supreme perfection after this life. Allegorical representations of essential truth and factors of life in Dharmic scriptures have been taken too literally, and those doing so have given rise to cults that have one or more central figures and are run as huge corporate organizations. The ultimate goal that is sold in organized religions is a comfortable life for eternity in heaven, where rivers of wine flow and beautiful female angels fly around, serving the residents of heaven, and of course, the chance of personally meeting their personal God. On the contrary, the ultimate goal, as per Vedic scriptures, is the realization of the divine self, which is followed by liberation from the cycle of births and deaths. Divinity is in every being and everywhere. Unlike what is taught in organized religions, God is certainly not some spectre-like personal being sitting on a throne up above in the clouds. God is you. The self in you is God. Every being and everything is God. The self in every living being is the same supreme all-pervading self. No one or no being is superior or inferior. Shloka 5.18 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shvapakecha panditaha samadarshinaha. People who are wise treat equally a learned and humble Brahman, a cow, an elephant, and even a person who cooks and eats dog meat. Shloka 6.29 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sarva bhutastamatmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. A yogi whose self is united with divine consciousness sees the self abiding in all beings and all beings in the self. Such a person sees the same everywhere. Shloka 6.31 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sarva bhutastitam yomam bhajatyekatva mastataha sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. The one who is in union with me and worships me residing in all beings becomes a yogi, and whatever circumstances the person may be in resides in me. Realizing divinity happens in the mind, for which a seeker certainly needs learned teachers, but not agents. Shloka 9.32 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Mam hi partha vyapashitya yepi syuh papa yonayah sriyo vaishyas tatha shudraste yepi yanti param gatim. Anyone can come unto me, Apartha, whatever be their race, gender or social status. Even those shunned by society can approach me, the supreme destination, and attain the highest goal. Shloka 10.20 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Ahamatma gurakesha sarva bhutashaya stitaha ahamadischa madhyamcha bhutanamanta evacha. I am the self, O Arjuna, situated within all living entities. I am the origin, the middle, and also the end of all beings. Shloka 13.27 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishkantam parameshvaram vinashyatva vinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. The person who truly sees is the one who sees the Supreme Soul or Supreme Bhagavan existing equally in all beings, the unperishing within the perishing. Shloka 14.19. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanu pashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodhigacchati. The one who recognizes the gunas alone as the agent in all actions and treats the self to be above the gunas achieves my divine nature. Srimad Bhagavata Purana or Srimad Bhagavatam, Shlokas 13 to 18 of the 29th chapter of the 11th skanda or canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29, 13 and 14. Iti sarvani bhutani madbhavena mhadyute sabhajayan manyamano jnanam kevalam ashritaha. Brahmane pukkasestene brahmanyerke spulingake akrure krurake chaiva samadrak pandito mataha. O brilliant Uddhava, a person who is guided by this divine knowledge regards me in all living beings and respects everyone is a wise one. Such a person sees equally a Brahmana and one shunned by society, a thief and a person who upholds dharma, the sun as well as little sparks of fire, and the kind, and also the brutal. Shloka 11.29.15 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nareshva bhikshanam madbhavam pumso bhavayato chirat spardha suya tiraskaraha sahankara viyantehi. A person who meditates upon me present within all beings is free from jealousy and rivalry, as also from false ego. Shloka 11.29.16 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Visrujya smayamanan svan drusham vridam chadaihikim pranamed dandavad bhuma vashvachandala gokharam. Not being embarrassed and not paying heed to what one's friends might say, a person should give up identifying with the body and offer respect to all beings, including a dog, cows, people shunned by society, or even donkeys, by prostrating before them. The Supreme Knowledge. The one who has realized the Self is above all the knowledge taught in the Vedas. Shloka 246 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yavan artha udapane sarvatah samplatodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. What purposes are served by one small reservoir can be served by one large lake entirely filled with water. Similarly, a man of realization attains the purpose that all the Vedas serve. Why is the formless Brahman worshipped in the form of Krishna in his human form? The two following shlokas contain Arjuna's question to Krishna and Krishna's reply regarding worshipping the formless and all-pervading superconsciousness called Brahman, or Krishna in his physical form. Shloka 12.01 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna Uvacha Evam satata yukta ye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Among the devotees who are ever steadfast and worship you, and those who worship the imperishable and formless Absolute, which of them are better versed in yoga? Shloka 12.05 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Klesho dhikataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta higatir dukkham dehavat bhiravapyate. Those whose minds are set on an unmanifest and impersonal absolute power face difficulties in reaching the goal. This is because people always identify with the body, and when there is no perceptible form, it is difficult to perceive. What should a seeker do until they attain the realization of the Self? Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29.17. Yavat sarveshu bhuteshu madbhavo nopajayate tavadevam upasita vangmanah karyavrittibihi. Until the time a person has attained the ability to perceive me in all living beings, they should continue to worship me through the functions of manasa, vacha, and kaya, which mean the mind, speech, and body, respectively. This means that until the day you realize your own divinity and that of all other beings, you may continue to worship Krishna in the way you always do, through thoughts, words, and deeds. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29.18. Sarvam brahmatmakam tasya vidyatma manishaya paripashyannu paramet sarvato mukta samshayah. Through the transcendental knowledge of the all-pervading Supreme Brahman, a person will be able to perceive the absolute truth existing equally everywhere. Being clear of uncertainties, the realized one gives up all attachments to the results of their actions. Divinity is everywhere. All beings are divine. You are divine. The journey that would be most useful to anyone in their path of worldly, spiritual, as well as karmic pursuit would be their journey inwards. It is true that a person's gunas are the ones that cause action. Shloka 327 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Prakriteha kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. All actions are done by the three gunas or the qualities of nature, but he whose mind is deluded by false ego and arrogance thinks, I am the doer. The gunas or nature formed by karmic impressions are carried by the self or Atman from one janma to another. It is not a moody and egotistical theistic figure called God that shapes the destiny of an individual, but it is their own karmic impressions known as samskaras that do it. Fully comprehending this great truth about karma and its transport from one janma to another, which has been explained in Shloka 1508 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, can greatly help a seeker live the life of a responsible soul. Take responsibility because you are divinity, and therefore you have the power to reshape and redefine your destiny through righteous thoughts, words, and actions. Doing so can alter your destiny by changing the karmic impressions or samskaras on your mind that you carry along with you through different janmas, which determine birth and various other essential factors of life. Taking responsibility and following the theory of karmic impressions or samskaras can greatly help in self-improvement. A person who realizes that his or her samskaras have been determining everything right from their birth to every event in their life understands that with their endeavor he or she will be able to improve themselves and also alter the course of their life. You have the choice as well as the power to take control of the process of your karmic evolution and make a remarkable course correction in your life. Learn to master your mind. Receive the teachings of Krishna. Perceive your own higher self. Begin your journey inwards. Enroll for age. A Gita experience with Navamitram Sarvada. Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om Tat Sat.